What's up, people? It's another edition of the New Breed Podcast, the world's best new metal podcast from two guys who are really there. I'm one half of your hosting duo, Jay Horskow. With me, I have my partner in crime, the notorious Tim. Tim Anderson Jr. Tim, how is it going?
Great, man.
We
Ready
are
to
we
do
are
this.
off to a rollicking 2024 start. We are off to a roaring 2024 start. So what are we doing this week, kids? Well, this week, Tim and I are doing a deep dive into an album that is decidedly not new metal, but I would dare say it is, Tim, I think you would agree, vastly influential to a lot of the bands that came after it.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
what we are talking about is our shared favorite Nine Inch Nails and the 1994 masterpiece. Obviously, I think probably their most popular album, The Downward Spiral.
Oh yeah, it's if someone says it ain't their most popular, they're living in another world.
So going back, and I haven't listened to this in a couple weeks. But I did listen to it. So to share a little bit for our watchers, listeners, we had John Detox on a couple weeks ago, and or a couple, actually, it was a week or two ago. The episode's probably not even out yet, but we had him where we talked about a book that we saw on his bookshelf called Into the Never, which is the Nine Inch Nails, the creation of the Downward Spiral. So I saw it on John's bookshelf. I read it, sent the title to Tim. Tim read it. And I think, Tim, that's what kind of jump started, I think, the interest in this episode, because
Yeah,
I was reminded about, I forgot how much, like when we did the deep dive into Antichrist Superstar, I forgot how amazing the album actually is.
yeah. I've been blown away by two records recently, and they're both Nine Inch Nails things, or records. When I went back and listened to Broken, I was like, dude, this record, man, EP, whatever you want to call it, is fucking phenomenal. Then you go to Downward Spiral, and you're just like, this is like the plateau of greatness right here. That
Mm-hmm.
that record is flawless.
Yeah, so I don't know about you, Tim, but when you first heard it, I remember I was in somebody's car coming home from high school. It was one of my random friends who happened to have his license already was driving us all home, and this was playing, and I just remember sitting in the back going, what is this?
Yep.
What is this? And I remember the song. It was I Do Not Want This. And I just remember going, I think I need to get this. I was not expecting this at all. But
Yeah.
holy shit! Shout out to Furley. I think Furley was driving I think he was driving a wagon at that point. But I was in the back going, "Oh, whoa! I need to buy this."
Yeah, we always talk. One thing I want to say too, we always talk about the importance of listening to records on a good sound system, good headphones. Don't listen to this one on headphones. Get a 5.1 surround, get an Atmos if you have it, and fucking listen to this, man, dude. It'll swirl shit in the back of you that you've never heard before. It's amazing record, man.
Truly ahead of its time, right? In that respect, because this is '94. This is when everybody was using fucking Walkmans or
Yeah.
Discmans. I went back and listened to it. I used my good wired headphones, and especially after reading the book, I was paying more attention to some of the things happening in the background, for lack of a better term, and the samples, and to your point, the swirling and the soundscapes. Like even the beginning of I want to say it's the beginning of, is it Reptile that starts with the sprinkler? Or no, that's Eraser.
That's a racer, yeah.
The buzzing where it comes in and out and in and out, like legit creepy stuff.
Yeah,
But man,
man.
I was grinning the whole time I was listening to it. I was actually sitting here at my desk doing like PowerPoint stuff, God help me. And I was like, holy shit, like there's things that I forgot that were buried in the sound.
Yeah, I have a few chapters of the book left. I just didn't have time to finish all of it, but for the most part, dude, I'll tell you what, man. Buy the book on Amazon wherever you get books, read it, then listen to the record again, and I'm telling you, man, that's a great book.
Yeah, you
The dude
catch
who
more
did
stuff.
that, yeah, the dude who did that is it was very well written, man.
There was some bon mots in there, some trivia bits where I was really like, huh. There was the one where it was a Chris Vrenna quote, the drummer, who said before they recorded this album, he spent like 3 days just watching VHS tapes and recording
Oh
samples. And
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
had something like 300 something samples they could use, which is
I could have
unbelievable.
swore I could have sworn he said that he listened to them but didn't watch them. Like he
Or
listened to the audio
maybe.
of him just so he could get like a better perspective of what he wanted to use. Like like, dude, I'll talk about it when we get to the song, but like you're gonna laugh about the one thing. I like forever I thought this the beginning of Mr.
Closer.
Self-Destruct.
Oh, oh,
When we get to that, I'll save it for that because it's fucking hilarious what I really thought that was at first. Like
oh.
when I was a kid, I was like, what the fuck? This makes no sense. But then when I read the book, I was like, oh, I know that movie.
Did you, and we're going to talk about it when we get to this, did you know that the beginning of Closer was a sample?
Oh, Iggy Pop?
I had no clue, dude. I had no clue until I read that book and I listened to it on Spotify and I went, I'm not an Iggy Pop fan, admittedly.
Nah, me either.
I never would have put that together, ever.
Only reason I know that is from the book.
Yep, yep. So people, go out and buy this book, Into the Nether by Adam Steiner, worth every cent.
Yeah, he's done a few other books. I think he did like a Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Is that what they're
Yeah,
called?
yeah,
He did like one other, two other ones. I just forget what they are at this present moment. But the book's very well done, dude. It's
yes.
an easy read. I put it down a couple times. Like Friday night, I laid in on my couch. It was like 9 o'clock, and I was like, I'm gonna read two chapters. 6 chapters later, I'm like, fuck it, like just
Uh-huh.
keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, and it's well. So for those that aren't familiar with the book, it's they bounce back and forth chapters. So there's a each chapter is a song from the album and the story behind the song and the construction and the arrangement. But every other alternating chapter is the history of Nine Inch Nails, the history of
Yeah,
synthesizers in industrial music, the history of industrial music. You know what happened with Columbine, where everybody wanted to blame Marilyn Manson's Nine Inch Nails, all these bands. Like it was very much a point in time retelling of the story, and I thought it was fantastic.
yeah. I liked how they jumped in between all that stuff. Some of the chapters are a little short in some of the songs, but I was like, yeah, whatever.
But I mean, what are you
So
going to do with like what is it, a warm place like the interlude? Like there's only so much you can do with it.
yeah. So
All
all
right,
right.
Tim, let's get into it.
All right, released March 8th, 94 through Nothing and Interscope and Island Records in Europe. Produced by Trent Reznor and Flood, who this was the only record he worked on because after they had some differences. But I wish he kind of worked on more stuff because you can the Flood influence in this is great, man.
Yeah.
Did he do anything for Broken?
I don't think so. Let me look here.
Because I'll tell you what, while you're looking, the if you listen to Broken, I know a
Yes,
lot of
yes.
people.
He produced Broken. You were right. He
I
produced it.
I thought so. And it's a lot of people say Broken is their heaviest and it's guitar driven, but if you listen to the Downward Spiral, it's the same elements, dude. It's just got Downward Spiral's got more electronics, more synth,
Just the
more
more. It's just
yeah.
more. There's layers and pieces where Broken was almost Broken is almost the whipsaw pendulum going the other way of a totally stripped down Pretty Hate Machine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but if you compare both of them, there's songs on the Downward Spiral that I swear to God where could have been on the Downward Spiral, vice versa.
So he went from so he's done almost all of U2's stuff, which is kind of wild. He did he did Pretty Hate Machine. He did the first Pop Elite itself, Nitzer Ebb, Depeche Mode, Violator, right? Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, The Good Son, Achtung Baby by U2, Jesus and Mary Chain, Broken, Songs of Faith and Devotion, U2, Depeche Mode, U2 Zeropa, Downward Spiral, PJ Harvey, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness.
Oh wow.
He did U2's Pop. He did Smashing Pumpkins Adore. He did Mocking of the Machines of God by Smashing Pumpkins. He did Erasure. He did New Order. He did U2 How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. I mean, I'm looking at
Wow.
this list. I'm like, Jesus, this guy's touched everything. 30 Seconds of Mars, The Pains of Being Pure at Heart, Goldfrapp, Orbital, uh, Depeche Mode. He did the 2014 U2 album. Is that the one that they forced on everybody's iPods? And everybody
Yeah.
got pissed off.
Yeah.
Great story. Interpol. So I mean, Flood has been around. He's done a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah, that's an extensive list right there,
Yeah,
man.
that's a
Good
hell of
for
a
him.
resume, right?
Yeah, but I always wondered if he did stuff on the Fragile, if it would have stayed in like that Downward Spiral, like
Mm, mm.
songs. Not that the structures are different, but like the sound, like the Fragile is great for what it is, but it's not the Downward Spiral at all.
No, but I mean, I don't know if it's in the book or if it's somewhere else that when I was diving, where Trent even talked about how after the downward spiral, he was really getting into drugs. He was really kind of losing. He was kind of losing control. The fragile took so long because he was at his bottom. He
Yeah.
cleaned his shit up, and then the next album they come out with is With Teeth, which is honestly that's their most accessible. That was their first stab at being accessible on the radio. You know, clean song structures, verse, chorus, verse, a whole bunch of singles. Yeah,
I think we talked about With Teeth too, like how we hated it at first and now we love it.
the whole With the Teeth. But now
Yeah,
I go
that
back and every day is exactly the same as on that album.
one of the best songs he's ever
The
made. Yep.
day the whole world went away. Um, Bite the hand. It was a Bite the hand that feeds. Is that on that album?
Yep.
Yeah, there's some good songs on that album.
Really good stuff on that record. Yep.
Yeah,
I do hate the With the Teeth. I hate that
with
shit.
the teeth. Like I remember being outraged about that when it came out. I was like, what is this shit? Yes.
Yeah. All right. So some more stuff here. So before the recording of the record and before the recording of Broken, Nine Inch Nails singer Trent Reznor moved into 10050. Is it Clio Drive?
Cielo
Cielo
Drive.
Drive and Benedict Canyon, Los Angeles. The site of the site of the murder of actress Sharon Tate by members of the Manson family in
Yep.
1969. It was then transformed into a studio for recording the Broken EP and subsequently the Downward Spiral. So Reznor also called his first night in what is again?
Cielo Drive.
Cielo Drive terrifying because he already knew it. He already knew about it and read books related to the incident. Reznor chose the Tate House to calibrate his engineering skills, and the band bought a large console and two Studer machines as resources, a move that he believed was cheaper than renting, which, yeah, it is. You buy the gear, you ain't got to pay rent, the house will pay for it, done.
Right. Right. But on the other side of that though, remember what we read in the book where he talked about how he was always there. Like even when you weren't
Yeah.
recording, you were still in the studio. And I think we can both admit that yeah, there was some benefit to that in the sense of what he turned out, you know, recording wise, but mental health wise, that can't be healthy, right? To always be there and always be on and always feel that urge to want to work.
Yeah, definitely. December 93, Reznor was confronted by Patty Tate, who asked if he was exploiting Sharon Tate's death in the house. Reznor responded that he was interested in the house as her death happened there. But then he also said, after she said that, he kind of went back and thought about it and cried and thought, like, that could have been his sister. So it kind of like
Yeah.
changed his mind. So I think that kind of led to him, moving back to New Orleans and,
Yep.
starting Nothing Studios there. But I'll tell you what, man. Broken and Downward Spiral being recorded there, Antichrist being recorded there, and all that kind of stuff. Or was Antichrist recorded there, or was it Portrait?
Portrait was there, and remember I thought if I remember the story correctly, that Manson shows up with the finished album, but they
That's
hated
right.
it.
That's
So
right.
that's when they went from Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids to Marilyn Manson, and they re-recorded giant chunks of it.
It's crazy because we just did an Antichrist dive, and how do we not remember where it was recorded? What the fuck is wrong with us? Anyway,
We're getting old, dude.
them two records being recorded there, man, like, I guess it adds to the haunting element of them records too. You know what I mean? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
because it's, I'm a firm believer in your surroundings have a big impact on anything you do.
Oh,
Doesn't
it's
matter.
the old Timothy Leary quote about when you're doing psychedelics. It comes down to set and setting, the
Yeah.
mindset and where you're doing it. And music is no different, right? Because you're putting yourself into an altered state to create. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll tell you what, you never do psychedelics when you're in a bad frame of mind. That'll really
No.
fuck you up, man.
No.
Don't ever do, listen, kids, if you're young, listen to this, don't ever do psychedelics, acid, gel tabs. Don't ever do that shit when you're in a bad frame of mind because that shit will come out tenfold on you
Mm-hmm.
and you'll have a bad trip. I'll tell you that much.
Mm-hmm.
So Reznor conceived the Downward Spiral after Nine Inch Nails run in the lineup of Lollapalooza Festival tour. Feeling increasingly alienated and disinterested, he began fleshing out the concept for Downward Spiral, focusing on the life and the death of a misanthropic man who rebels against humanity and kills God before attempting suicide. Reznor frequently struggled with drug addiction and depression, and the themes of the album gradually, and I can't say this word, allegorized his living situation.
Allegorized. There you go.
Thank God for Jay. His peers at some point recommended him the antidepressant Prozac, but he declined to be medicated, which I think was a very wise decision.
I mean, not to have you and I get up on a soapbox or anything, and I don't have kids, and you don't have kids, right? But
Yep.
I wonder sometimes if you look historically, this is me thinking out loud, but nobody please get mad at this. Don't get mad at this. I wonder about how many of the next Van Goghs, the next Reznors, the next artists who are Cobain, right? A little bit, they have some things that they're dealing with, and because of the things that they're dealing with and the struggles, out comes this amazing art that so many people resonates with so many people. And I wonder with the overprescription of antidepressants and Adderall and Zoloft and all those things, are we maybe missing out on the next genius? And granted, torture genius, I know what I'm saying, but I just can't help but think out loud. Is there someone who, because his parents thought he was too hyperactive, or his parents thought she was depressed all the time, we missed out on that once in a lifetime generational artist?
Absolutely. That shit kills you, man. It kills
And
it.
what it does to your brain is not. I have tons of friends who have been on them, and they never say good things. They always try to get themselves off them because I feel like a zombie. I feel like I'm numb. I feel like I'm just walking through life on autopilot. Yeah, I've heard it from multiple people.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on that kind of shit before, and I was like, ugh, no way. I don't need this shit.
You
Like,
just feel
I
weird. You
thought
feel
I
off,
did, but
right?
it completely kills any need and want to do anything, honestly. Like certain like I forget what it's called, skins with a C, but like I took that shit for a little bit and I was just like, I don't do anything. I don't even like look at a girl at
It's
this point.
giant.
Like I'm
It's a
fucking
giant
done.
wet blanket. I've been told it's a giant wet blanket on all your feelings.
It is, man. Like you just have no emotions.
Oh, that's
And
tough,
then when you come off of it, you're even worse than you were.
right? Because your body's got to get itself back. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it sucks, but what are you gonna do? A couple more here. Reznor wanted the album sound to diverge from the abrasion of Broken, emphasizing mood, texture, restraint, and subtly, although he was fucking people, man. Although he was unsure about its musical direction, he decided to utilize full range sound, focusing on texture and space and avoiding conventional usage of guitars or synths with a recognizable sound palette. He mainly worked with a Macintosh computer using music editor programs on the computer to distort frequencies in guitar and bass parts as a form of sound design and creating collages of sound with Pro Tools. So, all right, 93 when they were recording it,
Hmm.
Macintosh Pro Tools. Think about that right now. I have a MacBook
The
with all that shit on it.
the mouse
The,
is probably this big. Like it was one of those
yeah,
ginormous two-button mouses. Yeah.
I have a MacBook Air that just came out last year. The fucking thing, it weighs like it's like a feather. I
Hmm.
when I carry it, I have a panic attack because I feel like I'm gonna drop it. My mouse right here. Look at this thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
The Macintosh computer back then, to hold Pro Tools and all that shit, it had to be a monster. Fucking like I can't even imagine how big that computer was.
I don't. It had to be like a giant briefcase, right? Just the memory just was a briefcase.
That's what I mean. Like, because all them sounds they take up huge gigs, man. Like I have some sound banks that are like 300 gigabytes, dude. Like some people don't even have 300 gigabytes as their main SSD or HDD. I mean, that's fucking crazy, dude. But I'll tell you what, Pro Tools back then, it was super fucking expensive and it was super hard to use. So that dude, you got to really know what you're doing back then,
Yeah.
especially. I want to find a video of Pro Tools in '94, just in the
Isn't
'90s.
if you go back and watch the video for Gave Up, right? That's
Okay,
them in this in 100, 160 Cielo Drive. That's them playing along, and I vaguely remember it's got to be Flood sitting there messing with the computer on the screen. I guarantee you that's Pro Tools. I guarantee it.
I'll have to look at that video. I haven't seen that video in fucking
Oh, it's
forever.
fantastic. Richard Patrick's there. Marilyn Manson's there, and they basically do it's a one take live version of them doing Gave Up, and you can hear at the end Trent Reznor is legit out of breath.
Hmm, I'm was that on the two
Closure.
VHS
Yeah.
thing, Closure?
Yeah.
Yeah. That, some of them videos are fucking sick, dude.
Oh, the Happiness of Slavery unedited one is dark as fuck. Like the whole thing is dark, and that's why they never released it. And I'm pretty sure he knew that it got traded back and forth and underground VHS tape trading. But yeah,
My my mom got me that for Christmas one year. That tape.
Closure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I watched it in my bedroom one day and I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
yeah,
And then it went out of print. And then when Pirate Bay came up, Trent put out a thing on the his
yep,
message board and he was like, yeah, here you go. Wink wink.
yep,
And then
yep.
that's been floating around for fucking ever.
Yeah, he leaked his own shit, which is brilliant in its own right. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. I gotta actually download that again and watch it. All right, couple more things here. The album was a commercial success and established Nine Inch Nails as a reputable force in the 90s music scene, with its sound being widely imitated and the band receiving media attention and multiple honors. The Downward Spiral has been regarded by music critics and audiences as one of the most important albums of the 90s and praised for its abrasive and eclectic nature and dark themes. Subsequently, a remix album titled Further Down the Spiral was released in 1995. I know you're a big fan of that one. It's got
Hmm.
some cool stuff on it. I'm not a fan of remix stuff. Everybody knows that. So whatever. One more thing. After the record, or before the record, we all know about Reznor doing the feud with TBT,
Yep.
resulting in this being released on nothing. So him and John Malm, who, if you know who John Malm is, they had a falling out in like what,
Yep.
2005 ish.
Yeah, I think so.
You
Yeah.
know that story. You can read it in the book, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, there's so much other shit I could have did, but for time's sake, I don't want to,
Oh, we
bore
could spend
everyone with that.
hours just
And
going into the trivia and the minutia around this album because it's really really cool.
yeah, couple of our thoughts though. Let's go through some of our thoughts. We already talked about it. Everyone, get the Into the Never book. It's fucking fantastic, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Some more things, and then you can go. It's in my top 10 records of all time. Might even be top 5. This is one of them records that is so good at making the listener feel dirty. It makes you feel unnerved. It makes you feel just disgusting at times. I personally think this is the way music should be. I want music to make me want to shower after. I've said this multiple times. Primitive Man, stuff like that. This record right
Primitive
here
Man, I
makes
want to take an
me.
acid bath.
I want to get a fucking hard bristled scrubber and scrub my body after listening to shit like this. When it
uh,
comes to concept records, this is one of the best concept records of all time. Let's
I
be
would
honest.
argue, Tim, that this as a concept record is our generation's versions of Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
is. It
absolutely,
is
man.
a truly well done concept album. And I think we've talked about this previously, but the whole concept around the album is someone who's just their life is self-destructing. It's falling apart, and they lose religion, they lose their faith, they lose their interest in sex, they lose basically everything, and it ends with the person ending their own life. And when you listen to the album and how dense it is sonically, it truly is a almost like a Dante's Inferno of you're slowly circling further and further and further into despair. And I don't know how someone makes this album and comes out the other side and is like, yeah, let's go on tour. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get in a van with a bunch of because I think I would end up in fucking therapy and I'd have I'd end up on Zoloft and all that sort of stuff just trying to get my shit together. So I think it's an expertly tracked album. It is nice and dense. It is a headphone listen. It's like Antichrist Superstar. It's a headphone listen. Um,
Absolutely.
and I don't know, Tim, if they make albums like this anymore.
No,
I
not
don't
at all,
think
dude.
they
Not
do.
even close.
Where you got to go in and just get into the moment and just literally block out the rest of the world and let it happen.
I'm a firm believer that the '90s was the best decade of music of all time. There will never be in my lifetime. There will never be a better decade of music.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
And I would say before that, the '80s comes in second. Listen, man. If you're our age, I'm 40. Jay, you're 46, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I was born in '83. I can't say I'm an '80s baby, but here's the thing. I listen to a lot of '80s music now, dude. It's just so well done, man. Music is just '80s and '90s. You're not going to get a better 20 years of music. I don't care what anyone
And,
says, man.
It was, the other thing is it was fun.
Yeah.
It was innocent. There was music that talked about dancing and singing and having fun. And we've gotten to a weird point in our culture where we take everything so seriously. I mean, look at, if you watched, so the Grammys were just on
Yeah.
and Kim fell asleep on the couch as I was watching a movie. So I'm like, well, she's going to want to watch the end of it. So I paused the movie and I watched the Grammys. It's Miley Cyrus talking about giving herself flowers. It's Taylor Swift, who's just a sad sop. I'm sorry. Like she's just miserable and terrible choice and whatever. You have the one chick talking about being with a vampire, right? An emotional vampire. It's like where's the shit? Like, where's the Andrew WK? Where they're just singing about having a party, having a good time, enjoying life with your friends. We've gotten so morose and so introspective and self-reflective that it's kind of, I know we sound like two fucking boomers, right? Like, oh, get off my lawn, Grandpa Simpson. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like, yo, where's the fun in this stuff?
Yeah, the world it's just too serious anymore, and
Everything's
everything is
political, and it's like,
offensive.
yo,
And
just relax.
but here's the thing about the 80s and 90s you got to remember: the music was recorded better. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, it's so easy to record music.
Tape
I
is
just
is a different monster.
I just started making beats and like electronic music and shit. I'm sure you can see all my stuff back here. I just started making all that stuff. It's so fucking easy, dude. All I do is press pads and keys, and it's cool. But dude, back then you really had to know what you were doing. The music sounds so warm. The analog sound is so great, dude. All the electronic music from the 80s and 90s sounds fucking amazing still. I mean, come on, dude. Pretty Hate Machine. Like,
I think they had to work for it. And before we dive into Downward Spiral, maybe we do an episode on this. It's this piece of content itself? Did you watch the documentary on We Are the World?
no.
I don't care if you don't like that song. I don't care if you don't like the artist on that song. What a mind blowing accomplishment. They were
That's on
able to
Netflix,
get,
right?
yes, 40
Okay.
people in a room, basically overnight to bang that song out. And just, we should probably do an episode on it because it really is that good. I mean, the
I'll check it out.
Michael Jackson comes off as the nicest person in the world. He legit was there trying to help, and Lionel Richie, and just how the whole thing came together is just literally lightning in a bottle to get all those egos in a room to record together, and they pulled it off.
I'll definitely check that
Dude,
out. I'm not against that.
I got chills at a couple of points. I literally got chills because it's like, and they actually talk about in the video how you have all these artists in a recording studio, no handlers, no managers, no PR people. It's literally Kenny Loggins turns and talks to who's the guy from Huey Lewis, and there's no middle people there. It's just them and Bruce Springsteen, and they're just talking like people. And there was video camera crews the whole time, so it's all footage of what was going on. And dude, it was wild. It was wild. But anyway, let's get back to Downward Spiral. All right, so 65-minute total runtime. Let's jump in, Tim. First track.
Hold on, okay, can we go through something else real quick?
Yeah, yeah.
So I have the sound bites and where they come from. Do you want to do that with song or do you want to do okay? Okay.
Each song. Let's go through it.
All right. So we'll start obviously with Mr. Self Destruct. So the
Yep.
opening sounds of Mr. Self Destruct are a sample from the film THX 1138, which is a man being beaten by a prison guard. Now, this is the funny thing I was going to talk about. When I was younger, I'm like, why the fuck did he put a clip of someone bouncing a basketball? I literally thought someone was bouncing a fucking basketball for the longest time. A few years ago, I figured out what it was, but I felt so goddamn stupid after that. I'm like, is this dude loves basketball, I guess. Like, what the fuck? I
Oh, but
actually
you were young though. You didn't know.
I actually rewatched the clip today of that, and he definitely superimposed the speed of that because it doesn't get as that fast. And
No.
you don't really hear that in the movie. Who did that movie again? Was it Ridley
That
Scott?
was George Lucas's first
George
movie.
Lucas. That's right.
Yep. Did you ever watch the movie? It's actually not
Yeah,
bad.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
really dark dystopian sci-fi, but it's good.
Yeah, I actually checked that out a while ago, and I went back on YouTube and looked at the clip today, and I was like, "Oh, okay, now I get it." But I literally thought that was him bouncing a fucking basketball.
But to your point, right? So it starts with the sample, and then you get hit with we talked about it with Antichrist Superstar, the wall of sound. You've got the machine in the background. You've got the guitar riffing from Adrian Belew. You've got all this shit, the vocals, and it just out the gate. It's like It literally is the equivalent of someone taking a bucket and just throwing the contents right in your face. You're right in there.
Like a bucket of screws and nuts and bolts
Yeah,
and
it's
shit.
just you're
Yeah.
being pelted, and it doesn't. I mean, for it's a 4 minute song, it doesn't give up. So let's talk about Tim Reznor's brilliant use of contrast, right? Because you got this really heavy song, you got you got the verse, you got the chorus, you got the verse, you got the chorus, and then he's got that bridge where everything drops out
The clean one, yeah.
and you hear like atmospheric breeze, and it's just a couple of notes being played. I am an exit's whispered in the background, right? And then you hear the Adrian Blue in the background very, very subtly. The contrast there, the juxtaposition, right? He's brilliant when it comes to that. And this is why, so not to shit on anybody, I listened to the new Enterprise Earth album, right?
Oh,
I like deathcore. I do like deathcore. I can't stand when they put in clean vocals
I hated that record. I'm sorry.
because I think it's you're trying to attempt to add some contrast, but it doesn't fit.
It doesn't work on that record. Nope.
It doesn't fit. Just stay. And I'm worried because there's some other deathcore bands that have released a song or two that they include that. And I'm like, no, 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 just maybe one track as a B side, but stay the course.
Be brutal the whole time.
If you're known for being fucking abrasive, be abrasive. Don't
Yeah.
try and.
Are
But
you
yes,
are you seeing my screen flicker sometimes?
occasionally. Why?
I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway,
Whatever. Um.
dude,
Yes.
this is an amazing fucking opener. And to what you're to the point of what you're saying about that bridge part, that low bass tone in the background of that when he's doing the talking part
Mm-hmm.
is fucking amazing. It's so like simple yet so goddamn effective.
Yes. And I think that's why, Tim. I think it's effective because it's simple. He's not overdoing it. It's a very simple note run. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best openers of all time. I mean, it's fucking like you said, it's mayhem, dude. Like
It
the way
is.
it progresses, it's just mayhem in your ears, dude. Like I like when I re-listened to it because I listened to the record like 4 times this week. It's only Wednesday, so I started Monday. I just I just kept going back to that track and going, dude, like because me and you do the thing now, and I promise you I do this all the time. I don't start the first song anymore. I go right to the second song.
Right to the second.
I do right to the second. If it sucks, I turn it right the fuck off. Get the fuck out of here. Because if the second song sucks, the first one sucks. Anyway.
Yes. And then the rest of the album will be trash. I'm glad. I'm sorry I've ruined you, but I'm glad. Yeah.
No, I love it, dude. But I alone think right here this is just an extension of Broken right here. This song is an extension of Broken to me.
Yes. Yes. And I will tell you, this was the second concert I've ever seen in my life. We talked about it. Mr. Self-Destruct Tour. It was December of '94. Madison Square Garden. I went into the city, the whole nine. And it opens with Pinion, like Woodstock, and it slows down and it slows down. And you see him come up to this giant curtain hanging on the front of the stage. And he pulls it down and they go right into Mr. Self-Destruct. As 17-year-old me was like, what is going on? Because it was go, 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 go. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I seen them at the Tweeter in like 2011, and they had the curtains up, and the same thing. It wasn't Pinion in the background though; it was just some noise. The curtains fell, and it was just Mr. Self-Destruct right away, and I was like, "Oh my
Dude,
god!"
we do need to see them the next time they come through. Because also knows one of the things he does live is he actually hems the stage in. So
Yeah.
they have lights that they lower on top of themselves and on the sides. So he can play on a ginormous stage or in like the fucking Trocadero, but the setup is the same, which I think like I've been studying like art, like fine art, and what that does with your perception, where you place the lights and how it draws your eyes. And I think that's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, me and my buddy Joe, who you met at Pantera, who does the podcast, the sports podcast.
Okay.
Me and him were at this concert, and my buddy Aaron, and me and Joe look at each other when they played that, and we were just like, "Is this really happening?" Because right after that, they went right into Heresy, and I was fucking blown
Really?
away. They went right into Heresy, and I was like, "Oh my fucking god!" That was. I have to pull the set list up because it was one of the best set lists I've ever heard, and I had
Yeah.
seats for it, and the sound was just amazing.
Yeah, they're unbelievable. Okay, so we're coming out of Mr. Self-Destruct, which is like you said, it's a continuation of Broken. It's abrasive, it's aggressive, it's in your face, and then he literally goes 180 degrees
Yeah,
and
it
goes
takes
right into Piggy.
and it takes
I
huge balls to do it.
What did you think of when the first time you heard this album? You went from Mr. Self-Destruct to Piggy. Like, what was your thoughts, Tim?
It takes balls to go from that rager to the slow burner. I'll tell you that
Mm.
much. It takes
Mm-hmm.
balls because this song, it's a slow burner. Don't get me wrong. It's an absolute beast of a track that only gets better as it goes. It just
Yeah.
climbs the ladder and just gets better and better and better. And by the end, you get a full on assault again. So I mean, the way he just and let's talk about the pacing of the record. We're only at track 2, but the pacing of the record is fucking perfect. It's literally perfect. It goes like
Yes.
this. It just constantly goes like this, and then at the end, it just kills you.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
kills you with hurt, and I mean, dude,
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing. Everything about this record is amazing. I
Um,
just, I just think it takes balls to go full on assault and then slow burner. It's
right.
just
Just drop
crazy,
out
man.
the tempo, but like, yo, this is almost an acoustic song. Deal with it.
Yeah, but
Uh,
that's why he's a genius, and we're not.
the bass, the bass line, the do 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 do.
Oh yeah.
Again, simple but works. And the interesting thing I picked up in the book, the drum outro while he's repeating "Nothing Can Stop Me Now" is actually Reznor playing a live set of drums, and it's one of the rare live drummings, live recorded drummings of actual drums, not a drum machine, on the album.
Oh yeah, that was in the book.
Yeah, and he's like
Yeah.
kind of fucking around or whatever. And apparently, it was him testing the microphone setup,
Mm.
and he just liked the way it sounded and went, we'll keep it. But yeah, I hated it at first, but again, back to the contrast that Reznor does so well compared to Mr. Self-Destruct, and then I think it's Heresy is next, which is I can't believe my God, we'll get to that in a second. He knows how to sequence an album.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I said, yeah, the pacing, the sequencing, it's fucking
Yep,
amazing.
yep.
Yeah,
And
right, right into it.
the um the outro, bing bong bong, bing 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 bing, that shows up I think in the Downward Spiral at the last song.
Yeah, there's a few times that some of these parts show up. Yep.
Yeah,
Same
yeah,
thing with the pig lyric, the piggy lyric, and pigs, and it shows up in the record a lot. And
yeah.
I remember in the book he talked about why, and I'm pretty sure it had to do with the door of the Tate house said pig
Le
on it.
Pig. Yeah, it
Yeah.
had pig on it. Yeah.
So he basically took that and ran with it, which is, I mean, cool because I wonder, I'm wondering if the door had the blood on it still when he took it to New
Apparently,
Orleans.
he said that it had been repainted, but if you were looking, you could see it.
Oh wow, that's really cool actually. I
It's
mean, it's
fucking
not cool
dark,
that the
man.
chick was
It's
murdered,
dark.
but yeah.
That's dark. Like, yeah. Yeah.
Let me rephrase that. It's cool, but it wasn't cool that the chick was murdered, just
Right.
so people
Right.
are listening,
Just it's something to carry with you. Okay, so
Yeah.
we have Mr. Self-Destruct, then we go really like you said, we're gonna go with the slow burner, and then we go into Heresy, which I think this Ruiner and the Becoming are probably my favorite songs on the album. Because this is the one that starts out with the sampler, right? And then it goes the basically the dance beat. The oof, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Reach
just
out his
yep,
mind. Yeah.
yep. And then it comes in the chorus is him screaming with the ultra distorted guitar.
Oh,
Yes,
God is dead. Yeah.
yes, yes.
I mean, you go from Rager, slow burner to fucking Rager again. I mean, one of my favorite songs on the record, one of my all-time favorite songs by the band. I mean, this is let me think how to say this. The the excitement of this song mixed with the lyrics and stuff. I mean, this is 90s in a nutshell right here, dude.
Yes,
This
yes.
is this is an artist getting everything true off his chest. This is self-expression to a max right here. You don't get this anymore
Hmm.
because one, people would be scared to death to sing something like this right now,
Yeah.
unless you're like Dark Funeral or some fucking shit. But
Yep.
like, no one is putting stuff out like this anymore, and that's what's lost right now with music. I mean, who
Nobody's
could you
pushing a
think of?
boundary. Nobody's
Who could
pushing a
you think?
boundary.
Who pushes boundaries right now? Lorna Shore, maybe. with the music, but
Yeah, but that's with the music, not with the lyrical content or conceptually, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah. But like, you just don't get it anymore, and that's
Yeah.
what's really lost with it. And this is why this record will stand the test of time. In 200 years, this record is still going to be. This is going to be studied in 200 years.
Yep, it's still talked about. Still
We're going to
talked
be
about.
long gone, and people are going to be like, "Yo, man, 1994." It's going to be 20 fucking. It's going to be
2294,
2182.
and they're gonna be like, yo, this is still an amazing album. Yes.
That's what I mean. Like most of the records that come out these days, no one's gonna fucking think of them records
No,
ever.
no,
You know what I
no.
mean?
Most of the people we were just talking about the Grammys, they're going to be consigned to the dustbin of history. Taylor Swift is eventually going to be a Trivial Pursuit answer.
Yeah.
So
Jeopardy.
when we talked about the album and how it's the spiral of someone losing control, losing their love, losing their faith. This song is truly about losing your faith in religion. God is dead and no one cares if there's a hell. I'll see you there. Like obviously that's a reference to Nietzsche and his statements along God and God being dead in the modern world. But it really just it's just kind of wild, like the guitar work and the screeching, and then at one point the guitar drops out and you have the sample of the marching with like
Yeah.
some moaning, and then the guitar comes back in ultra distorted with a literally a mosh riff. It's
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it's expertly written. It's the what's the word that you get out of this? Like not the vibe, but like the kind of vibe, but like it's a
yeah,
different word. Like the tone it sets for you, it's just wild, dude. Because picture being 16 years old right now and hearing this for the first time. Your fucking mind's blown.
yeah, blown. Mine was I was 16 when I heard it. My brain was kind of like,
Yeah.
whoa, what is this?
It's on another level. Like you're people are gonna be like, I have a feeling that people there's gonna be someone that listens to this episode that hasn't even heard this record.
Probably. Probably, knowing our audience, probably, and I would hope that they plug in their headphones and give it a download and listen because it's something else.
And you know what? If you are listening, you've never heard this before, or you just heard it now, message us, let us know what you thought. Email us, leave a
Yes.
voicemail. Do it.
So we come out of Heresy, and then we have, I think this is one of the shortest songs on the record. We have March of the Pigs. Thoughts, Tim?
This is a punk track by Nine Inch Nails.
Yes.
Let's be honest. This is a two step with punk guitars in the verses.
Yes.
You know what I mean? This is yeah. I mean, this is as close to a punk track you're gonna get. Like that opening drum part is fucking. You hear that, you automatically know who it is.
You know exactly what song you're going to hear. Yep. Yep.
Exact. I mean, this is yeah. This is punk. But what really grabs your attention is the chorus in this one. It's just fucking perfection, man.
hmm hmm
It took me a while to appreciate songs like this in my teens and early 20s, but now it just hits so much better right now because this is a song that people go, oh no, I've heard that song a million times, but if you really sit there and listen to it, this is one of the best tracks on the record.
It is wickedly arranged.
Yeah.
It's you're right. It's a punk rock track. I always, you know what I think of? I think of the video where they did it in one take as a live recording. And if you go back and watch the video, there's a point where he throws the mic stand and you literally see like the grip come out and like stand the mic up and put the microphone back in the stand and he grabs it just in time. And yeah, yeah. And that was at that point, the band that plays in that album is the touring band for it was for Woodstock and for I think it was the first leg of Downward Spiral. So it's Danny Lohner, it's
Yep.
Robin Fink, it's Reznor, James Woolley, and Chris Frenna, his drummer who's been around forever.
I mean, just think of the chorus. Like it gets real quiet, and at the end of it, this it has that piano lick, and then right back into the punk.
Yep, yep.
I mean, it's an abrasive fucking song, dude. I mean, it's a
The
song where the pit gets going.
I know you're not a fan, but the remix that they do with I think it's Dave, is it Dave Navarro playing guitar? The remix on Further Down the Spiral is great. I think
I
it's
think
March of the Pigs, isn't it?
I think I heard that the other day because there's a remix that's on. Oh yeah, the March of the Pigs EP you're thinking of.
Yeah, no, I'm wrong song. It's the Piggy remix that I'm thinking of with Dave Navarro, where they turned
Okay.
it into like a where it turns into like a drum and bass song. Yeah,
Okay.
my
Yeah, but
bad.
the March of the Pigs EP is really good as well.
Oh, well, let's talk about this for a second, Tim. The other thing that Nine Inch Nails does really well is when back when he used to do this is every single wasn't just the song and a different song from the album.
Yeah.
It was the song, it was a remix, it was a radio edit, it was a different cover, right? We talked about the memorabilia cover, which I love. Which, dude, I have a great story. I almost got suspended from school. Um, I'll tell the story. Whatever. We're drinking, having a good time. I was in computer class and I had my headphones on and I'm listening, and that song comes on, and my teacher is talking, but I'm in the back of computer class. I don't even know he's talking. And my friends who were in the class, they said, the computer teacher's talking. All you know, son in the back, you hear me going, memorabilia. Like, and I was singing along. And then I hit the long one at the end where he goes, apparently I was singing out loud, not realizing the teacher was talking. And I look up and he's standing there right in front, go to the office.
Did he take your
No,
headphones
he
and
just
shit?
told me to go to the office. I thought I was going to get suspended. My parents were going to kill me, but it was my senior year. I really didn't care anyway.
Yeah,
Um,
fuck him.
but yeah, the Reznor does singles right because it's remixes, it's alternate takes, it's almost how Evil Gloom just did that single. They did that new song, and the one track was sped up and the other track was slowed down.
Yeah, that was
Like
cool.
I that's the kind of stuff that he would do. All sorts of goofy remixes and shit. Like, hey, just rearrange this for me and tell me what you think of it.
Yeah, yeah, he does do if I'm gonna listen to a remix record, it's gonna be by him.
One of his. Yeah,
Yeah,
one of his.
absolutely. Like the
So
Perfect Drug remix record is great.
that song, I mean, the drum solo in that is unbelievable. And I remember going out and buying that soundtrack just for that song because it's so fucking good.
Yeah, it's amazing, dude.
And the video is great too. So then we're coming out of March of the Pigs, and we're going to go into the Nine Inch Nails Strip Club anthem at 6 minutes and 14 seconds. Closer, aka Closer to God.
I mean, what else is there to say about the song? It's the most overplayed song in Trent's catalog, but how do you not love it? You
So,
know?
Tim, if you let me share, if you enable sharing, I will actually play you the riff from the Iggy Pop song. You're going to laugh.
Hold on 1 second here. There you go.
Here we go. So, this, and I think it's this. Here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
This is the Iggy Pop song. So, I didn't know that was an Iggy Pop sample. And then I went back and listened to that and I went, I hear it.
So he just instead of it doubled, he just does one. He
Yeah,
cuts out the
he cuts out the first one, he cuts out the reverb, and he has the hi-hat hit, and he compressed it and then looped it. But yeah, I know this song, so as someone who remembers when it was on MTV nonstop, it was on the radio nonstop. It literally is a strip club anthem. You go to a strip club, some girls getting up on stage working the pole with this song on. It's a good song.
it is.
Even with the cursing in the chorus, and as we talked about, the concept is a man losing his faith. This is him basically succumbing to his sexual urges and then losing his sexuality. Like, it just basically floods out of him.
I love, and this is a great part about this book. In the book, he goes on to describe how Trent purposely cursed as much as he did in the song to make MTV and stuff like that steer away from it and not play it because he was basically like, fuck it, I don't want any singles on this record. But what happened was it did the opposite and made the song a cult classic because everybody, when they heard it beeped out, they wanted to hear the original version.
Yep.
So then the record sales go up. People are fucking dying to hear what it really sounds like. And then boom, cash cow right there.
Do you
He
remember the
fucking
video?
nailed it, dude.
Do you
Yeah.
remember the video where they would have scene removed, which is brilliant. Instead of blurring it on the screen, it would actually just show the title card, which said scene what was it? Cells removed or slide removed. Brilliant.
It is. It's a
Brilliant.
brilliant marketing. I don't even think he made it. He did it. I think he was purposely like, yeah, fuck this. I don't want a single, but it plateaued. Or I mean, it didn't plateau. It fucking just went exponentially higher.
Mm-hmm.
and it
Hmm.
worked out. I mean, because like you said, it's a fucking you. If you're right, you go to. I haven't been to a strip club in fucking 10 years. I guarantee if I went to one right now, you'd probably hear it tonight.
Tim, we could leave right now. We could go to one in Philly by the airport. Within the first 30 minutes, somebody would play Closer.
Oh yeah, there's one like 5 minutes from me right now. I could literally go on 291 and see one right now. But it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's his most popular song, I would say. Is it this or Hurt?
I see. I don't know because
Go on
Hurt.
Spotify and look at
Okay,
the
let me look at
numbers.
Nine Inch Nails and let's
Yeah,
see
while you're
what.
looking at that, I'll talk about some other stuff. So I also think with this track right here, being how popular it really is, I kind of think it lost a little bit of its popularity as when Hurt came out though. Because you think about it, when Hurt comes out, you got Johnny Cash doing
A
the
cover,
cover
yeah.
of it, and then a million other people have covered it. I mean, there's bands that covered a song, but I think for a second that song gets pushed in the background because of Hurt. But then after the Hurt thing goes away, this song got even bigger. Like so
Yes.
for if just think of that. If Hurt doesn't do as well as it does, this song might have been 20 times bigger than it was. You know what I
Uh,
mean?
yeah. So you're right. This out of Nine Inch Nails, the most popular song that they have is Closer with 246 million streams plus.
Uh,
Second is what do you think number two is?
is it Hurt?
No, that's number three. What do you think
Oh,
number
is it
two
is it
is?
Head Like a Hole?
The Hand That Feeds,
Oh wow.
120 million streams.
Damn.
Behind Hurt, Head Like a Hole. What do you think number five is? I'll give you a hint. It's on With Teeth.
Oh, this what's this single? What's it called?
Every day is exactly the same.
Yeah. Is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
With
Okay.
42 million. Yeah.
That's a fucking amazing track. So
That,
of the
yeah.
250 million streams, 150 million of them are in strip clubs.
Probably
Yeah.
more than that, to be honest with you. But I mean, it's a well done song. It's a long song, right? The piano motif shows up again, right? Which we talked about that. It was at the end of, I think it was Piggy.
Yeah.
Um, that shows up again. But it's just I I got tired of hearing this song when it was on MTV and all over the place. But when I go back now and listen to this album, there is not one track that I fast forward through.
I will guarantee you right now, I could pull Brianna down here and put this song on and say, "Do you know this song?" And she would go, "Yeah." And she doesn't know any other thing, but I guarantee you she couldn't tell you one song by Nine Inch Nails, but she knows this one.
Kim would know it. My wife
Yeah.
would know it too. Yeah.
I'm going to do that after this and bring her down here and say, "Do you know this song?" And I guarantee you she'll say yes.
She's gonna go, yep, yep. Okay,
Oh yeah,
so
yeah, I heard that at cheerleaders like fucking 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Diabella was dancing. All right,
Yeah.
so we come off Closer and we go to, I think this is the best 1, 2, 3 sample, 1, 2, 3 structuring of this album. We go with Ruiner.
So you think Ruiner, The Becoming, and I
I
Do
do
Not
not
Want
want
This?
this is bang, bang, bang. Um, and then well, we'll talk about it. But then you have a big man with a gun, which is like a minute and something. But then it goes right into a warm place. And I actually think, in hindsight, if you drop out big man with a gun, and I get why he included it, and I get what he was trying to say, if you go right from I do not want this to a warm place, it basically is the giant deep breath that resets everything. That's just my 2 cents. But yeah, but so back to Ruiner. I love this album. It starts with the Amen break and the sample, and then the keyboards come in, and then the big chorus. How'd you get so big? How'd you get so strong? How'd you get so hard? How'd you get so long? Right? Like that is like that's like arena shit, dude. That's arena shit. How loud and big and just bombastic, I guess, is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think this is where the record really starts to shine for me. That this is where his genius comes out, in my opinion. Every song from now on this record is an absolute fucking certified banger, in my opinion. I mean, the soundscapes and like the driving force of the record comes out right here. I
Uh,
mean, one of my
what
favorites on the record as well.
what about Tim? The Peter Frampton-esque solo in the middle,
Yeah.
where everything drops out and you have this ultra fuzzed out guitar. Like, again, for
Is
me to
that
say that out loud sounds fucking bananas. But when you go
yeah.
back and listen to the song, you're like, well, yeah, that fits.
Is that the 245 mark with the bass line and just the synth guitar
Yeah, and
sounds? Yeah. Yep.
yeah,
I'll
literally.
tell you what though,
Peter Frampton.
the end of the song really pops off into something else. I mean, it's just a fucking perfect track. All around
Yes,
perfect track, man.
yes.
Like I said, dude, it shines right here.
Well, it at the end of it turns into this giant, just industrial clanking cacophony, right? And then it goes
Yeah.
right into what's right after that? Is it Heresy? What's right after it? Shit,
Oh, The Becoming.
The Becoming,
Yeah.
which the synth start screaming in the background. What's that sample from, Tim?
That is for The Becoming
Yes.
is give me 1 second. The sample of screams that plays throughout The Becoming is from the film Robot Jocks, when a giant robot falls on a crowd of spectators.
Did you ever see that, by the way?
I have no clue what that is.
It's a 1990, it's a terrible, terrible sci-fi movie. I think it's streaming on something. You gotta watch it, dude. You gotta
I'm a,
watch it.
I'm assuming Tubi is going to be for the win.
Uh, you know what? I'm gonna Google that. Let's see. Robot Jocks streaming. Or we could just call Sam, he would know. You got it.
Tubi?
Tubi.
How did I know that?
Tubi.
And why does it not surprise me that you've seen this movie?
It was either Tubi or Freevee. I mean, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Oh, I watched every bad sci-fi movie from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, you ever see Buckaroo Banzai?
Dude, I love that movie.
That movie rules.
I love that movie. I'm so pissed they never did the sequel, right? I mean,
Yo, I hope my buddy Vince is listening to this. He probably won't. I don't think he likes Nine Inch Nails, but me and him, I used to have this house in Clifton, and like I would get drunk all the time, and he used to crash my house all the time. And this movie came on it was like a random Sunday afternoon, and me and him watched the whole thing and just fucking laughed the whole time. And we, to this day, will joke about Bonsai, whatever fuck it was called.
oh, dude, I the oscillation overthruster and like, like, oh my God, it's what
I could text him right now and just write Buckaroo Banzai, and he would just write LOL or
yeah.
haha. I
John
guarantee it.
John Big Booty, right? John Big Booty, like John Lithgow just literally chewing his way through the script. I quote it all the time. Nobody forgets it. The Kalami Brothers. So we went from The Ruiner to Becoming, where this is, if you remember the meta narrative of the album, this is where the character is starting to truly become something else. Is this the I won't give up, it wants me dead, goddamn this noise inside my head?
Uh
Yes, that's the end of this song,
oh
right?
yeah,
That's the
yeah, the end.
outro,
Yeah.
where it literally turns into that overdriven jackhammer guitar riff, which is
This is an industrial breakdown.
yes,
It's like
yes,
an industrial mosh part right here.
yes.
I will say though, this is my second favorite track on the record. It's so hard to decide between this and another one, and when we get to it, I'll say it. But either way, this is to me what industrial was and should be. This was like everything to me when I first heard it, because this song right here has every element of the metal, the industrial, the synth breaks and all. Amazingly
Uh,
written track.
Here we go back to I'm going to be known as the bridge guy, right? But the bridge, it's an acoustic guitar. He's singing, Annie, hold me a little tighter. I might just slip away. And then it goes into that horribly discordant sample synth part where, and then it goes into the jackhammer riff. Like how, how he put this together in his head, where he was just sitting there going, "This makes sense." I don't know.
What does he say? Something he wants me dead.
I
God
won't give up. It
damn.
wants me
Yeah.
dead. God damn this noise inside my head.
Yeah, and then the voice gets a little shriller as it goes.
Yeah,
Oh, dude, yeah.
pitch shifts it upwards. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing, dude. If I ever interviewed him, or if we ever interviewed him, this would be one of the things I ask him about is just what are you thinking as you do this? Like, is it drugs? Is it alcohol? Is it what is your state of mind when you do something like this? Because the layering and shit on this song is just it's worldly.
You met Guzzy, my buddy Guzzy. Him and I used to joke that we're convinced that he just sits there at home in front of like the keyboard sitting behind you, and he's just and he's just staring off into space, making noise and just recording and looping it because this the Becoming, Ruiner, I think Reptile, those are the songs, and even Mr. Self Destruct are, I think, the heaviest in the sense of there's so much jammed into 4 minutes. I don't know how he did that. It would have been like a 72 track recording,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Trying to layer all that tape on top of one another.
You know what's crazy about this episode? We're only at track 7 and we're an hour and 10 minutes in.
We're gonna go 2 hours, then we're gonna cut the second
Fucking
episode of
wild,
tonight.
man.
We're gonna be like, yeah, we're out of here. But I'm gonna listen to this when I wake up tomorrow morning. This is the first album I'm gonna put on. Kim's gonna kill me. Dogs are gonna lose their mind with all the fucking screeching. But I love the Ruiner. It's the Becoming where the character is starting to make his change, and then I Do Not Want This, which is my favorite song on the album, and it's because it's the first song I heard on the album that I was like, whoa, what am I doing?
Yeah, I do not want this. Great song. It's the most repetitive song on the record, but goddamn, it's great, man.
Yeah, the and I was a teenager. I was 16 years old, and somebody screaming, "Don't you tell me how I feel? You don't know just how I feel." I was sold. But it's again the contrast of the chorus, the lyric, the verse is very calm. You got the piano in the background. You got some of the weird sort of looped samples coming in the background, and then it does the I guess you'd call that a pre-chorus, right? Where the
Yeah.
sampled guitar, the sampled drum kicks in, and he's speaking at a faster clip. But then the chorus comes in, and it's just wall of guitar where he's
You,
just yelling.
my favorite part of this track is in the second verse where he you know how he's like, and I'm made of clay.
Mm-hmm.
You know how in the second verse where he screams the end of it before it goes into the pre-chorus?
Yep.
The
Yep.
really isn't. That part is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like the way he went from the subtle talking to that scream right there, but he like compressed it to where it wasn't too overdone. That shit right there, man, makes the whole track for me.
I think, and you know what? And when I think about it, he did compress it because it sounded like he was yelling through like a tube
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
can
yeah.
hear the reverb on both sides. But then it goes into the chorus, and then the equivalent of the end of that chorus is you just throwing the door open and walking out of the room.
Yo, and
And then yeah,
how cool is the part where he's like,
yeah, he's humming in the background. Yeah,
I fucking love it, dude.
yeah,
Yo, I want to know what it's like to be a listener of this podcast when we do weird fucking voices like that because people are probably like, "What the fuck are these two
someone who's
idiots
listening
doing?"
or watching, please comment, be like, yo, you guys got to stop, or yo, keep it up because now I understand what part of the song you were talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah, exactly.
we can't play samples. We'd be blocked and booted in
Oh my god, with
seconds.
fucking our YouTube account would have fucking AIDS.
So many flags, it'd be terrible. So, but then he storms out. It goes into that sampled part, right? The sampled kind of bridge. Um, I want to do everything. I want to fuck everything in the world. I want to do something that matters, right? And then again, this is where he masters the transition because it's him yelling. The song stops and it goes right into Big Man with a Gun.
Oh yeah,
The banner, the banner, the banner, the banner. Where you're like, okay,
that this is a broken track right here.
yes,
Yeah, this is one of the broken tracks that I could have swore that this could be a track that he worked on for Broken and said, I'm not quite finished this," and then came to the Downward Spiral and goes, "Yeah, you know what? I have
he
this
had
riff."
some riffs left over. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, because it's just what is it? It's probably is it the shortest song on the record? Yeah, it's
yes,
136,
yes,
right? Yeah.
yep.
I mean, imagine if this song came out in 2024.
And he talked about how this was him giving the middle finger about gangster rap and how cartoonish it was, and he was referenced in that hearing. um I forget what it was about. It was about back then the conservatives were fucking these people.
Oh, this is
Oh
a song that they had the Senate hearing thing about, right?
yes, yes, yes,
And he was like, "Please read off the lyrics to this song." Oh,
yes,
was it Jimmy Iovine?
yes, yes, and
And he
Bob
was like,
Dole and all them. Yep,
yeah,
yep.
and Dole, yeah, and he was reading it off, and he's like, "This is gangster rap," and it's like, well, wait, what? No, this is not gangster rap. This is a completely different form of artistic. What's that word?
Artistic expression. Yes.
Expression. Yeah, I mean, it's But you also have to remember back then people were so out of touch with stuff. Like it doesn't surprise me at all.
No,
Them
they
old
were
fucking people, they're out of
old white
touch.
guys. Yeah, they were terrible. They were
Yeah,
terrible.
old white guys have no fucking clue what
So,
they're doing.
but he made the point what he was trying to do with the song because the way that they reacted proved the point he was trying to make.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So
it's
we come
perfect.
out of Big Man with a Gun to A Warm Place. So you know what I think of when I think of the song. So first of all, this is the deep breath before it all just goes to shit, right? Like this is it. This is before you go right off the cliff. Um,
This is a
I
titled interlude.
I think of Natural Born Killers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Dude, I drove with a couple of guys, my buddy Rob and a couple other friends. We found some theater in like I think it was like Allendale, North Jersey. They were like they were like a chain theater, but they did only like indie stuff. And we went and we saw it, and back then I didn't get it. And the old a lot like the first time I saw Fight Club, I didn't get it. And the more I watch it, the older I get, the more it makes sense. And now with how we treat media personalities and all that, Mickey and Mallory is way more resonant than they've ever been, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll tell you,
But
dude, I will admit it too. I did not get both of them movies at first take either.
no, and
Especially
the
Fight Club.
yeah, and the Fight Club is one of those movies where the running joke is the older you get, you take different things out of it. So when you
Yeah.
were younger and you saw it, you first got the nihilism, but then the older you get our age, Tim, and now you look at the materialism and you're like, yo, he's not wrong. Like the things
Who
you own do end up owning you and all that sort of stuff. But
who
yeah,
who
so
did Fight Club again?
David Fincher.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. That's a fucking amazing movie.
Oh, I am a big fan of everything he's done. I've never seen The Social Network because I can't stand Zuckerberg, but like
That's a
the
fucking great movie.
Seven, The Game,
Oh,
Alien
Seven,
3,
amazing.
Alien 3.
Yeah.
Um, this,
You like the game?
oh, I wonderful mind fuck of a movie.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
It's
A
really,
lot of
really
people
good.
aren't really into that movie.
I I don't get why. I mean, I don't know. Well, a
I'm
lot of his
gonna
stuff is kind of darkly cerebral. You got to go back and watch it again, and
I'm gonna rewatch that this weekend actually.
I got to put it on Plex. By the
It's
way,
probably on Tubi.
thank you for telling me not to watch Night Swim.
Oh,
Was it
brutal.
bad?
Oh God. Oh.
We watched what did we watch this weekend? We watched Ferrari.
Oh, I
It
seen
was
that in
pretty
your
good.
Plex
It
server.
was
Yeah.
pretty good. Okay, so
I
anyway,
just watched some movie in your Plex server. I forget what the fuck it was though.
it shows me it'll be like activity, and it'll say T. Anderson, and
Oh,
it'll
okay.
show that you watched it. So back to the Nine Inch Nails. So a warm place. This is you're right. This is a titled interlude. This is the deep
Yeah.
breath. 10 tracks in before it all tips over, and then we go into Eraser. What are your
Very
thoughts?
strange track.
What are
This
your
is a
thoughts on
strange track.
this? Yeah.
It's a strange one. I mean, the whole soundscape of it is just otherworld stuff, though. I mean, if you listen with a great pair of headphones, you totally get immersed in this one.
Yes, yes, because there's a lot of the swirling sounds, the almost like the insect noises, and then you have the dun 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 dun
Oh
like
yeah,
the synthesizer. Yeah.
3.5 minutes it takes for the vocals to come in, but when they do, man, it is a complete just fucking I love it.
Did
That
you
it
go on?
just the vocal part to the end of the song, man, it's just it's great. And this is another track I could have swore would have been on the Broken.
Yeah, the way it ends with
Broken.
the
Yeah.
jackhammering guitar.
Yeah, this is a Broken track in my opinion.
I always think of there's two remixes of this. I think it was on Further Down the Spiral. There's the one where it's the find you, feed you, love you,
Yeah, yeah,
taste
yeah.
you. I think of that one, which is kind of goofy but impressive. And then they do I think it's called Eraser Slower, where it's the lyrics are slowed down. So if you play it on, like, if you're listening on on an old boombox, Tim, here we go, 94, and you hold down the fast forward button, you would hear erase me. Like it was just that line repeated. But unless you can fast forward and listen while it's fast forwarding, you would never pick it out. It
I'll have to
sounds like
listen
just
to
this
that.
swirling noise.
I'm gonna have to listen to that now.
So we come out of Eraser, we come out of one of, I would say, one of the more popular, bigger songs on the album, if only for the fact that it was one of the songs off the Downward Spiral that they played at Woodstock, Reptile.
My absolute favorite Nine Inch Nails track of all time.
Really?
Yeah, I absolutely love this track. My favorite track on the record. It's my favorite Nine Inch Nails track. I think it is brilliant. There's no other words for it. It's fucking brilliant.
Uh,
That beginning part where the doom doom doom,
yeah.
dude, it is a scary song, man.
So I will tell you this. I like the song, but then you know you go through the phases where you like the song, you hate the song, you like the song, you hate the song. It didn't really resonate and stick with me, resonate, pump, until I saw Nine Inch Nails open for David Bowie. And the way they did it is Prick played, Nine Inch Nails played, then they did a joint couple songs together, and then David Bowie's band took over. And this is the song where Bowie comes out because the curtain is down and the guitar part is coming, and you see him walk up and you know it's David Bowie. And the curtains go up and it's him standing there and he's singing the verses. And it was the coolest fucking thing in the world.
I mean, the lyric. I mean, she spreads herself wide open to let the insects in. I mean, come on,
Mm-hmm.
dude. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
It's everything about this track is just there's not one bad part of any of it. This track is perfection to me.
So they played apparently, if I'm looking at this date, this September 95. Yeah, this was right. They played they played Subterranean, Scary Monsters with Nine Inch Nails, Reptile, Hallow Space Boy, Hurt, and then Nine Inch Nails went off.
Mm.
And dude, if even if did you ever listen to that album that he did, The Outside, by David Bowie?
Mm-mm. Wait,
Tim?
wait. The one that they did together?
No, you're thinking of I'm Afraid of Americans. That was
Oh
Earthling
yeah,
was the
yeah,
one
yeah, yeah.
afterwards. Go back and listen to David Bowie's Outside. You will first of all unmistakably hear the Nine Inch Nails influence, but it literally sits in that sound of the time.
Okay, I will put
It's
that in my
worth a
list.
listen. There were some really good songs on that.
I wrote in my notes for this one. The the start of the second verse with the "I don't even know" sound is great. It's like you did something wrong, and this is the sound you hear before your punishment. It's like this is a song they put on before they like stone you to death or beat you to death with whips and shit. It's like this song, man, even as a teen, was my favorite song by them. Like I heard this song and I was just like, "Yo, man, that is just amazing, dude!" Like I 100% think this is his best track of all time.
The chorus, right? With the big guitar part, and then it's what, and then it's the giant chords that they play. Yeah, it's definitely one of the most memorable songs in the album. I understand why they played this at Woodstock. I understand why it's been a live staple ever since. Like it hits all the notes.
With my disease, my infection. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
brilliant track.
yeah, it is something else. So we're coming out of Reptile, Tim's favorite track. Then we go to the Downward Spiral, and this is the character just this is the end for them. This is them reaching that the apotheosis. I guess is the no the what's it called? Not the apotheosis. It's the nadir, right? It's the bottom. They've reached the bottom, and this is the end for them. And it's dude, I actually have trouble listening to the song even now because I find it deeply disturbing.
It's very
Where
haunting. Yeah.
he's whispering over the music, and you hear the screaming, which is dropped down and it's in the back, but you can't help but notice it's there. Very very hard listen for me.
Yeah. To me, I wrote this is just another titled interlude, but it's a barrage of depressing sounds.
Yes.
it's and like you said before, the whole if you listen to this song and the guitar part comes in where it's drowned out, it's if you put that guitar part in full blast, it is fucking one of the heaviest songs on the record.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
If he put the guitars up front, it would be one of the heaviest songs on the record.
100%.
I mean, excuse me, like I said before, I'm just reading my notes again, but this stuff will haunt you. One thing though, when that heavy part comes in and he's talking over it and it's panned the way it is, holy shit, man. Like the panning and
Oh, where
the
it goes from
automation of it.
ear to
Yeah,
ear.
dude.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff, dude. And like you said, it's the beginning of his end, right? Like basically it's his end right here, and then Hurt is obviously the end. But this song is brilliant, dude. I don't care what anyone says. For me, Reptile into this, yes, it's a hard listen, but in the best fucking way.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's just two bangers right there. Let's just go right into Hurt. What do you think of this song?
Uh, it is a beautiful song. It's moving. I mean, you listen to the lyrics. Anybody who's ever dealing with depression or loss, like it makes sense. Um, I'm tired of hearing it, if that makes
Yeah.
any sense. I will tell you that when they played it live, when I saw them in '94, I literally had my ears covered. I wasn't wearing earplugs at the time. This was the second show I've ever been to in my life. I had my ears covered because I knew it was going to be painfully loud, and it was when that last guitar part comes in.
I want to talk about something here. The cover that Johnny Cash does, I don't like his music. I'm not a country guy, whatever. Nothing against it. I don't really, whatever. But I'll tell you what, man, his cover is fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great cover, dude.
No,
And
no denying that.
and didn't isn't it like fact that like he did this song when he knew he was basically on his outs?
I think so. This is one of the last things that he recorded, I
Yeah.
think.
You should look that up actually. I'm pretty sure that it was said that he did this song knowing that he was pretty much like out. His life was about to end.
Let me see here.
Which was when you think of it, that's very fucking crazy, man.
Dark,
It's
dark.
dark as hell, yeah. That's the pretty much the word I was going for.
I
But
do see here that Trent Reznor praised Johnny Cash's interpretation of the song for its sincerity and meaning, and then he said that song isn't mine anymore,
mm,
which is that's wild.
yeah, it is wild. That's the part I didn't get to in the book yet, so
Oh yeah, they talk about it at the end, but yeah, it's beautifully haunting. But yeah, it's honestly, I don't listen to this song. If I can get through, honestly, I usually punch out after Reptile now because I don't really want to listen to Downward Spiral because it's so uncomfortable. And then Hurt, I'm like, ugh.
oh no, dude, I love the uncomfortableness.
But so speaking of uncomfortable, there is the missing track that was never added to the album, which was supposed to be the last song, which was the song "Just Do It," which was a short song truly talking about kill yourself. Like time to end it, kill yourself. And apparently, if I remember the story correctly, Flood said you can't put this on the album. Like this is too much. You can't put this on the album. You're going to influence too many people. Where did I see that? I think it's in the book too.
Yeah, I didn't get to that yet.
I think so. Is there a glossary back here? Where's Just Do It show? Hold on.
Glossary. Only you would think of a glossary.
Oh, of course. Why wouldn't you go in the back and see what's in there? And yeah, I know it's Tim. You're going to see it. I know it shows up in the book. Um,
I'll be finished that by the end of the week.
but they do talk about
While you're doing that, so after the record comes out, they embark on the self destruct tour. So that was with Chris Brenna, James Woolley, Robin Fink, Richard Patrick on guitar, and bassist Danny Loner. So they did Woodstock 94, which I'm sure you've seen that before. That is amazing.
is there a better coming out set for any band than that Woodstock 94? And by coming out, I mean we are here, we are establishing ourselves. Take us fucking seriously because get on the ride. Here we go. I can't think of a better example.
No, I mean, dude, that set is amazing, dude.
Dude, we watched it on my buddy paid for pay-per-view. We watched it and we're like, what the fuck? Is he covered in mud? And they come out and they're just it was unbelievable.
Wasn't it like cornstarch or something?
Well, the story goes they usually covered each other with cornstarch, but they were behind backstage and somebody pushed somebody else. I think somebody pushed Robin Fink into the mud, and then they all started pushing each other into the mud. And that created problems when they were trying to play. And then they came to realize that the mud wasn't really mud, it was also shit as well.
Mm.
But honestly, Tim, if they had just come out dressed normally with cornstarch, it wouldn't have been as effective as them coming out covered in fucking mud.
True.
You know, and then like I remember the after interview, Danny Loner, the bassist, guitarist, keyboardist, he had dreadlocks, he had braids. And he was sitting there, he's like, look, and he's squeezing them, and his hands are just full of gunk because it was impossible to get out. But yeah, that live recording showed up on, I want to say it was, what's the name of the bootleg I've got? I think it's called Purest Feeling, because I have almost every Nine Inch Nails bootleg, I think, from 89 to like, I don't know, 97. There was a bootleg where it was that live set. You could hear at one point Trent Reznor pours water on Robin Fink and the guitar shorts out. And then you can hear the mic short out. But yeah, that was a performance where everybody was kind of like, what is this?
I love it, man. Yeah, the main leg of it featured Manson as supporting act. Who?
That was the one I saw. I saw the night that shows up in your video in Closure about
Oh
they get
yeah,
into an accident and Fink breaks his finger. And I think it was Twiggy Ramirez played guitar on that night.
yeah,
I
he did.
think.
Yep. Or wait. Who featured bassist Jordy White, then playing under the pseudonym. Is that the right word?
Yep, pseudonym. Yep.
Twiggy Ramirez, while later played bass with Nine Inch Nails from 2005 to 2007. Doesn't say if he played guitar in this though.
There was, wait a minute. It was Nin MSG 94 accident guitarist.
I'm gonna look up this set list thing too. Hold on, right here. We got some dead air, people. Oh well.
We're walking around here. So yeah, so there was a it was delayed because Robin Fink broke his finger. And then, yes, Twiggy Ramirez played the next night, the show in his place. And I remember, dude, it was a big thing for me because I didn't go to school that day because I was on the basketball team and I couldn't go to practice because I was going to the show. And my coach was a real dick. So my parents let me call out of school. So I didn't go to school because I took a sick day. And then I went to the show and then they postponed it until the next night. So I had to be out of school the next day. I had to lie again. And my parents were, I shout out to my mom and my dad. My mom is gone at this point. They were so cool about it. They were like, yeah, well, just don't go to school the next day. And I mean, what a fucking experience, man. What an experience.
It's gonna take me forever to find this Camden one. Yeah, I'll have to look it up. There's just so many. I've seen them so many times there. It's just like hard to find. Tweeter Center,
So we talked about
Blockbuster.
it. They do Woodstock 94. They do the main leg, which was called All the Pigs All Lined Up. The second leg was Further Down the Spiral because then they released the remix album. They do the Nights of Nothing, which was the showcase with, we talked about this on the Nothing Records album, Papa Lee itself, Meat Beat Manifesto, Prick, Manson, so on and so forth. And then they actually go, they kind of just disappear for a while. And Reznor's doing his thing, and then you end up with the Fragile. God, what is that? 4 years later, 5 years later, Tim?
99.
Was it that far apart? Yeah, it was 5 years apart. Yep.
Well, yeah,
Which
it's a
is
double record, right? Yeah.
which is
So.
but even still, that's insane to think about. Like nowadays, if you took a 5 year gap, people would forget about you.
Yeah, if with the day we deep dive Fragile, it's gonna be a
6 hour
2 episode.
episode. You're gonna do a
Two
double
episodes.
double disc episode. So we
All right,
talked about
let's take this to the end right here.
so we talked about Just Do It. We talked about all that stuff. What the other interesting thing, which I think was a brilliant move, when they released in 2004, I think it was 2004, they did a bonus disc. And the
Oh,
bonus
the
disc,
re-release, yeah.
which was all of the B-sides. So it's Burn from Natural Born Killers, which I think is their best song. Closer
Wow.
cover, Piggy from Further Down the Spiral with Dave Navarro, A Violet Fluid from March of the Pigs, Dead Souls on the Crow
Mm.
soundtrack, which is an awesome song. A version of Quiet, a version of Closer to God, All the Pigs All Lined Up from the March of the Pigs single. Memorabilia, which is a soft cell track, which is the one that almost got me suspended from school. And then you have a redo of the Downward Spiral, and then you have the demos for Ruiner, Liar, and Heresy. But Liar was Reptile.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of fucking awesome. That they said, you know what, all the and Tim, I literally had a giant box of cassettes where I had just my Nothing Records stuff. I remember drawing the logo on the front and everything, and it was all the. I didn't have a CD player at the time, so I had just a Walkman. I would give my buddy like you remember the super expensive blank cassettes? They were like $8 each, and they were no different than the fucking $1.99 ones. But I would give them to him, and he would dub over. He would copy the Sin EP, the Down In It EP. They had like a whole EP. Trent Reznor he was onto something there with how he was doing it.
Absolutely. All the halos and shit. Yeah, man.
Yep.
Definitely. All right. So out of 10, what do you rate
11.
it?
11.
Yep. Me too. 11.
11. This is one of my, along with Fantastic Planet, along with Hatebreed, along with Andrew WK. This is one of my perfect albums.
Yep. Perfect from start to finish. That's it. I'll give it a 12 out of 10. Fuck it. I don't even care.
I mean, and I know people are probably listening and go, well, you just said you skip songs. Yes, I skip songs, but I know this is a perfect album. And on the 5 listens I did of this album back when I finished the book, 3 of them I didn't skip anything. So it's a perfect album. It's a well put together album. If you please, like Tim said, if you are listening, if you're watching and you never heard this album before, you never heard of any of it, even maybe you've heard Closer, maybe you haven't heard the album, give it a listen. Contact us and let us know. We'd even love to have you on to talk about it because I'm really curious to hear what someone who has brand new ears from something that was mind blowing in '94, which God, Tim, that was 20 years ago, right? 2004, 30 years ago, 2014, 2024. That's 30 years ago.
Yeah.
God, we're getting fucking old. Let us know what you think.
It came out in March, right? So we could basically call it the 30-year,
We're going to title this episode the 30-year anniversary deep dive of Downward Spiral, because by the time it comes out, it's going to be March.
Exactly.
But yeah, if you've never heard it before, please let us.
Mitchell hit me up last night when I posted about doing this, and he was like, "Oh, I wish I would have known about this." I'm like, "Dude, you can come on, but I don't think he had time." So, but yeah,
hey, he can come on for the Fragile.
If you're listening, come on for the Fragile, definitely.
And maybe Tim, we can even go backwards and do can we get to a Pretty Hate Machine deep dive and probably do it justice?
Oh fuck yeah, let's do it.
You know, because there's for a poppy industrial album, I went back and listened to that and I was like, man, you can see the seeds of him writing good songs.
Dude, Something I Can Never Have, amazing.
Ring Finger, Sanctified, there's some amazing shit on there. All right, so New Breed _ podcast on Twitter and on Instagram, New Breed podcast at gmail.com, 267-297-4627. Tim, did I get it?
Mm-hmm.
For a voicemail, leave us a voicemail. Let us know what you thought of the episode. Let us know if you've never listened to this before and what your first impressions were. Find us on /New Metal on Reddit. Find us in our Facebook group. Hope you enjoyed this. Tim and I are going to do some more of these because we really do fucking love Nine Inch Nails. Until next week, this is New Breed podcast saying cheers.
Later.